in lieu of December's training of the month, because I realized that people's work schedules get screwed up in December, there's family coming into town, there's just a number of things that makes December kind of a screwed up month to get out to the range as often as you want to. I'm not getting out to the range as much as I want to this month. You're probably not either. So, in lieu of December's training of the month, I want to talk about training. I want to talk about the different levels of training and the pros of each level of the training. So let's first identify what training is. Training is when you enter something, a class, usually a class, not knowing the subject matter. So you might have an idea of it, but you don't know the subject matter. You enter the class and you come out the other side with the training. That's the training process. Everything out the other side of the training process is practice. You take what you've been trained in and you practice it. You get the experience in it throughout life, throughout the next days, months, weeks, and years. So training in and of itself is the thing that you start practicing. Now some people take multiple trainings at the same, multiple of the same training because they want to get that information just nailed in as much as they possibly can, because they understand that just because you're told something once doesn't mean that out the other end of it you're going to always get that same draw. You're not always get that reload right. And so you want to build that education in training over and over and over again. That way your practice is also more effective. You're not practicing the wrong thing because, oh, maybe you didn't pick something up in training, or misheard the guy, or forgot something even. So that's training. Training's the thing you learn that you then practice. So anybody that gets any kind of training at all, thumbs up to you guys. There's enough people out there that go out and don't get any training and believe they're going to be effective in a gunfight. So no matter what level of training you're at, whether it's on the level of you watch my YouTube channel or anybody else's YouTube channel for that matter, but you watch my YouTube channel for the training of the month, if you're new shooter, startup shooter, and you're just getting down the draw, the presentation, we haven't gotten into reloads on drill of the month yet, but that's coming up really soon, so get your mag pouches ready and stuff like that. But just a little hint. But whether it's that very beginner's level and you're seeking out the training, or you've gotten a concealed weapons permit class, which are a lot of laws, self-defense laws, plus basic pistol training usually, that's great. Maybe you've gone up and done a different basic pistol class, or more of a medium pistol class where it's kind of like the NRA pistol class and stuff like that. Or maybe you've gone as high stress training. Your contractor classes, your advanced carbine, advanced pistol classes, where you're moving, shooting multiple targets. You have multiple contacts on either side of you. You're running with a team, bounding, entering a room, doing all kinds of stuff. You got smoke bombs going off next to you. You may even have simunition rounds being shot at you and things like that. That's high stress training. Those contractor classes, it's really what military type people go through, and a lot of people in the United States go through those classes all the time. So let's talk about advancing your training. Like I said, any amount of training, if you're actively trying to improve your shooting abilities, I completely congratulate you. Whether you're a startup guy or you're somebody that's getting into your first contractor high stress training class, awesome. All the way through the whole levels. Great, good for you. Now, I want to talk about active shooter situations. Recently I was told that you do not need high stress training classes in order to be effective during an active shooter situation. Active shooter being like mass shootings and stuff like that, schools, buildings, concerts, whatever. And do you need the high stress training, contractor type classes and experience to be effective in those situations? Not necessarily. If the guy got his back to you and he's shooting at a bunch of people and you happen to be right next to him a few feet away and you take that shot, it's essentially a stationary target. There's nothing going on around you, and so on. So no, you don't necessarily have to have high stress training in order to be effective in an active shooter situation. But if you are a concealed weapons permit holder, and that's all the training you've got, are you going to be more or less effective than the guy who has the high stress training and the high stress experience? Well, you're obviously going to be, on average, less effective. Why? Because that guy is used to working through a crowd. That guy is used to having fire, rounds going off around him. That guy is used to the commotion. He's used to being out of breath. He's used to running all over the place. He's used to his body being torn down and still having to function. Whereas the person with the concealed weapons permit probably isn't like that. They have a basic understanding of pistols, maybe more than a little bit basic understanding of pistols, but they have a basic understanding of pistols, basic understanding of self-defense laws. They're probably really good at static shooting, shooting a pie play to 7 yards, and things like that. But are they effective at working through a crowd? Are they effective at dealing with the mental and physical stresses of working through a crowd, of working towards somebody that is firing rounds who knows where? No. Your basic concealed weapons permit holder, your basic NRA class, those guys don't train for that stuff. That's not what they train for. So they're, on average, not going to be as effective as the guy who's done this type of training. Now again, this is by no means shitting on the guys who got basic NRA or basic pistol or the concealed weapons permit classes. By no means am I shitting on those guys. Again, anytime you're trying to advance yourself, great, good for you. I'm ecstatic about that. We need more well-trained people and knowledgeable people out on the streets. But the argument that has been made to me is that you don't need any training, much less high-stress training, to be effective in these situations, these high-stress active shooter situations. And that's complete garbage. Anybody who tells you that is an idiot. Plain and simple. And most of these people, they've never been through real high-stress training. They've never been shot at. They've never been completely just drained of all mental and physical energy and still have to perform at their top of their game. Firefighters do this. Professional fighters do this. There's a lot of people out there that have to go through this kind of training. That way they are on their A game at their most drained point. And you're not going to sit here and tell me that high stress training is not needed when all these other things around, like I said, firefighters, professional fighters, SWAT, military, when all these other things around prove that to be wrong. So everybody, get your training in. Like I said, if you're at a concealed weapons permit holder, if you're at a nothing level, you just purchased your pistol, you're wanting to learn something, hit my basic, my drill of the months, hit some basic pistol classes. A lot of them, especially on a local level, not these big national guys, but there's a lot of local type guys all over the country that do classes for a pretty small amount of money. And chances are, if you know them personally, you're going to work with them off the books. So there's plenty of basic pistol, concealed weapons permit type classes out there. Get your training in. There's plenty of NRA classes out there. They get a little bit more expensive. And like I said, there are thousands of people. There are just tons of people across the country that do these contractor high stress training classes all the time. And continue to work your way up in levels. Continue to work your way through the knowledge base, through training and into practice, and become as proficient and effective as you possibly can be with a firearm. Because who knows, one of these days it could be your life or a whole group of people's life on the line, and you need to be as effective and proficient as you possibly can be in that situation.